Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome and back at the APAC Manufacturing Conclave. So this is the two-day event. Today is the first day. So what we are doing through this event is we are having more than 60 plus the tech decision makers from different manufacturing industries converge together on a virtual platform and discuss the various technology deployment aspects and the digital roadmap ahead for manufacturing companies. The format which we are doing with, like, in the morning, we had an inaugural session with the senior bureaucrats and government policymakers from the manufacturing sector, laid down the roadmap ahead from the policy front. We had two, three very interesting sessions from the industry. Rest between these 2 days, we have nine such panel discussions, out of which six are specific to verticals. So we are having panel discussions on pharmaceuticals, on automobile, on FMCG, on oil and gas, on steel, on energy and utilities, on transportation and logistics. So the CIOs from companies representing those industries are there. Other than those six, we have three panel discussions. One is the current one, which is on smart manufacturing, smart factories, the digital disruptions in manufacturing, and the roadmap ahead. One session we have tomorrow is on the future workplace, especially from the manufacturing front, what it would look like. And we have one session on cybersecurity and blockchain with respect to manufacturing. So, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the panelists in today's session. We have with us Mr. Sharad Nigam. He is the Vice President, Corporate Strategy and Digital Operations for both India and APAC and Hitachi India. Welcome, Sharad.
Thank you. Look forward to a great session.
Sure. We have with us Rajiv Kherde. He is the Vice President of Global IT in Sigma Electric Manufacturing Corporation. Welcome to the show, Rajiv. Rajiv is having, I think, slight problem with the camera, so we'll hope he's able to fix his camera soon. So, welcome, Rajiv. Next, we have with us Dr. Priyabrata Sarangi. He is the CIO of BCM Shriram Industries. Welcome, Priyabrata.
Thank you, Rajnish, and I'm glad to share my experience in this forum. Thank you.
Sure. We have with us Mr. Manish Chandegara. He is the head IT and CISO of the Aditya Birla Group. Welcome, Manish.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have with us Jagdeep Kumar. He is the CIO of Lohia Corporation. Welcome, Jagdeep.
Thank you, Rajnish. Look forward.
And to moderate the discussion, we have a very known veteran of the IT industry. He is a has been a CIO himself and a business leader, and in this CIO circuit, he has been a veteran for many years. We have Mr. Yatin. He is the Senior Vice President, Chief Business Processes and Technology Excellence Officer of Inam Asset Management. Welcome, Yatin. And now
Hello.
I'd like to hand it over to you for the panel discussion, and I would move out, as I mentioned, to all the panelists. At the end of the discussion, I would like to join in and present a little token of certificate of excellence to each of the technology leaders here present here. So, over to you, Yatin.
Thank you, Rajnish. Right, looking at the panelists, I'm really excited. I'm sure we'll have a interactive, informative, in-depth session, which will help the viewers to get insights, get the, knowledge from the experience that you all have. Coming to the topic, digital disruptions in manufacturing sector, smart factories, digital manufacturing, lean manufacturing, and artificial intelligence. This topic in today's world is quite apt as India embarks on Make in India. Historically, last 10 years, 15 years, the focus has been on services, and India has done extremely well and is now called as the services powerhouse of the world. may it be software services or any other services for that matter. We had advantage of language, right, and hence we could leverage on that, and we captured a significant market share globally. We realized that while we were doing this, right, another country next to us, our neighbor China, focused on manufacturing, and in that they experienced exponential growth and became the manufacturing hub factory for the world. And today they are the second, right, biggest economy in the world, moving towards challenging the number one, right, in the near time. With that, India realized that we need to open another stream, right? Instead of importing, we need to start manufacturing. And with the current government, which is operating for the past 7 years, right, the focus on Make in India, right, and all the initiatives associated with it, right, were, rolled out and deeply followed, consistently followed. And the message is very clear that make India the manufacturing hub. Now, while we are doing this, there is a historical way of manufacturing and there is a modern era of manufacturing. To understand this, let me give you an example. Before the COVID, India used to import all the PPE kits. But when COVID started, we adapted to the opportunity. We took advantage of the opportunity. And India now is among the top three PPE kit manufacturers. The message which I want to give is manufacturing in the digital era has to be quick, agile, lean, and address the problem. So, having said that, while doing this, right, factories need to be nimble, right, need to be distributed, and need to harness the opportunities by the spread. We need to use digital avenues into manufacturing, and the manufacturing should be lean, as thin as possible, so that outputs become fast, adaptation becomes fast. Use of artificial intelligence and the technologies around it needs to be put in place to give a competitive edge. So, with this introduction, I have few questions, and all the five panelists, right, are open to take the questions. There is no hard and fast rule that someone, right, has to answer it. Right, each question will be answered by two people, and anyone can volunteer to take that. Please raise your hand and start answering the question by introducing yourself. The first question is, what are the key constituents of a small factory, and how do they enhance operational efficiency? What are the key constituents of a small factory and how do they enhance operational efficiency? I would request anyone amongst you five, right, to pick up this question and answer. Else, I will pick up one.
Uh, I can go first if everyone is
Sure,
okay.
sure, sure. Go ahead.
Great. Thanks, first of all, for inviting us. And this, as you absolutely rightly mentioned, the importance at this point of juncture where we stand, making India as a global hub and make in India, enhance the make in India to be able to retain our position in the manufacturing sector, right? So I'll quickly give a few seconds of introduction. So I represent Hitachi here. In India, Hitachi is operating with around 31 group companies across various verticals. For example, mobility, infra, auto, IT, consumer goods, energy, cash management, healthcare, and education, and many more. So there is a widespread business uh, with almost $1.7 billion revenue last year and 18,000 people. I'm part of the head office team taking care of the strategy as well as digital operations based out of Noida. So that is a quick introduction. And coming to your point, I think I would like to highlight three things here. One is that how digital is enabling the conventional practice, and this is very important point because we cannot overload our operations team with multiple leading practices, one on top of another. So what is the linkage between two? So I'll talk briefly about that. Uh, I'll also take some examples how this all is improving functional effectiveness because that is the reason why we are adopting digital technologies. And the third, very briefly, I'll cover based on my experience how do I see organizations to adopt these technologies? So with that structure, if I just start with the first one, uh, in fact, if you see in last 20-25 years, we have been successfully adopting leading practices from the global environment. And as you just said a few minutes back, that we have made a very good position in the global scenario. The only problem which I see is that while we have enthusiastically adopted these, when we start talking about digital, a natural resistance or a threshold comes from the people on the ground managing the operations. They feel that this is yet another leading practice which is being forced by management, and we have to adopt something like this without understanding the value of it, and which is logical, you know. So it is absolutely critical to understand and create awareness about how digital an enabler of some of these existing practices to make them more effective. So, for example, if we say some of the leading, operational excellence practice, whether it is lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, theory of constraint, balanced scorecard, you know, total productive maintenance, total quality management, and all, right? So this is one set of leading practices. On the other side, if you see digital technologies, we talk about IoT, closed loop control, AI, ML, advanced analytics, predictive modeling, real time capturing, and all. And how these two things are coming together to impact. If you see, we're talking about quality, safety, supply chain, dynamic scheduling, and digital thread. These are the some of the impacts. So if you talk about how the digital is helping in TPS, for example, Toyota Production System, we all know, some of the important element of that is standardization, autonomous, GIT, time and motion study. So for example, if you take autonomous, digital technologies with the help of IoT and sensor, a good combination of these, are enabling many of the processes to become autonomous. Just in time, we are aware that how the advanced level of scheduling is helping on the GIT. And obviously, with the video analytics and image solutions, we are helping the time and motion study, which is well more effective than what we used to do with pen and paper some 20 years back. If we say, if we take example of DMAC, DMAC of the Six Sigma, and we talk about define, measure, analyze, implement, and control. These are the five phases. My experience is that out of these five phases, digital technologies are playing significant role in measurement, analyze, and control. I mean, it has an impact on all the five phases, but primarily on M, A, and C. And we have lot many examples. When it comes to the impact, because your main question was that how it is all improving our the effectiveness of different functions. So when we talk about productivity, there are two main elements. One is asset overall equipment effectiveness, and the manpower productivity. I'm sure people in the panel will talk a lot about asset, availability and performance and quality, which are basically the three factor of OEE. So I would like to take quickly example of manpower productivity, because I've seen some of those solutions implemented and improving. So in terms of the availability of right person at the right place, that is very important. Number one. Number two is ensuring the safety of the worker, because if the worker is not safe, it's his or her health is not up to the mark, we cannot expect a productive environment and really a good quality of product. So I'm excited to share one example of mining industry where in my previous company we had a solution uh, which closely monitors the flickering frequency of the eye of the operator, and based on the AI and ML model, it predicts that the tiredness or the fatigue level of the labor, and which interestingly predicts the behavior of labor in advance and generates alerts so that it can be controlled. So such kind of advanced mechanisms are there in terms of to make sure the labor is productive enough. If we talk about quality, we are moving from reactive to prescriptive and predictive quality. And we have number of cases across industries where we are making quality predictable. For example, my own experience is with respect to auto industry, where we improve the spot welding condition, which is a little bit unpredictable. In paper manufacturing for paper quality, and in tire manufacturing to predict rework based on the process parameter. These are the three examples which I have seen, myself implemented and very effective. These are few examples, and I'll let others to also pitch in here.
Sure. Thanks, Sharad. I take the second question and I may request Rajiv to answer the second question. What are the different lean manufacturing methods and how do they align with smart factories? What are the different lean manufacturing methods and how do they align with smart factories? Rajiv, your thoughts on this?
Yes, thank you so much, and I express my sincere gratitude for becoming a part, inviting me a part of this panel discussion. And as rightly said, this is the very apt topic for today's discussion, and this is really relevant in today's circumstances. And that is what most of the organizations are doing right now. To answer your question, the different lean practices are quite well known, and every organization tries to find out as to which method they can adopt. I can say that there cannot be a 1 to 10 kind of fixed lean methodologies that an organization should follow. It all depends on the type of industry and which type of environment and the shop floor that they are using, following it up. And depending on the business condition and the requirement they have to follow as to how they can eliminate the unwanted task in the organization, unwanted steps in the shop floor, and based on that they can decide as to what is the best suitable strategy for them. So it all depends on the business as to what practices they should follow. I am not of the opinion that they have to follow 1 to 10 steps as such, but it all depends. The ultimate objective, I can say that they have to direct their efforts to achieving manufacturing excellence, which should be the prime objective according to me. Whatever steps are taken, they should direct and conclude in such a way that the desired objectives are met. And in the current scenario, wherein every organization wants to achieve the manufacturing excellence, wants to exceed in their steps and achieve the most wanted results by way of digitalization, by way of automation, or whatever measures they can follow. So, according to me, this can be a general kind of approach, but it all depends, according to me, as to what is the business condition, what are this environment, and what is their ultimate objective. So, whatever is decided, they have to follow a concrete steps to achieve that, and it all should be directed to achieving the end results. So, that will be my general comment on the question that you asked, Yatin.
Sure, Rajiv. Thank you. My next question would be I would request Priya Batra, right, to take the right question. And the question is how are manufacturing CIOs looking at Industry 4.0 techniques to extract data and derive more predictive outcomes from those data? I repeat, how are manufacturing CIOs looking at Industry 4.0 techniques to extract data and derive more predictive outcomes from those data? Right? Dr. Sarangi, over to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Yatin. Before coming to your question, I would like to highlight some point. It's about making smart factory, or it's about making a 4.0 roadmap for any industry. But basic thing, basic foundation is how you are aligned with the core function of the manufacturing. One is your production, production planning, production quality, plant maintenance, and the your logistics part. If these processes are not aligned each other, Whether you are going to deploy any technology, it will be disaster. So this is the main function. Yes, if you go back in the year 2010, I think people are using manufacturing execution system to make an integration between your level 1 automation, level 2, level 3, up to level 5. Now the scenario totally changed. uh, no need to, that means if you have automation level 1 or level 2, and you have a level 4 ERP system, level 5 analytics, then you can integrate through combination of your IoT, your AI, and ML. If I take an example, particularly the production and quality process, and how people are getting the minimum wastage, and in enhancing their productivity, and the information to the your next customer. If I take an example of glass manufacturing, wherein I have done IoT plus AIML part, um, uh, just we saw one problem, that in glass bottle manufacturing, once it will coming from the semi-finished to finished product, and it's a continuous product, and there are a lot of people who is observing this glass bottle to detect the defect, whether it is defect on the next side, whether it's the bottom side, like that. So when we analyze that, it is not 100% sufficient to capture defect. There are some error. If you take out 5 to 4% error in the manual inspection, you can't believe we have started algorithm. It's a based on machine learning. We trained this model for 3 months. We detect through machine learning, and from that defect, we have analyzed it, and automatically the system through the logic, through the parameter or the deficiency, due to that this defect occurred to the process operator. So if you analyze one thing, there are things which is linkage with this process, and you are enhancing your productivity. So this is the beauty of this 4.0, which is integration between your top floor to soft floor level. So this is one part, like your planning and execution. If you talk about planning, efficient planning with actual capacity mapping, which is another example. Earlier it was just like, that means you are making something your ERP and throw a data to the your automation level 2, level 3 system. Now totally scenario is changing. Automatic scheduling, planning, which is aligned with the each machine. This is one part. Another major part is your product costing, because nowadays people are more that means they are more interested to understand the how to minimize the cost, how we can minimize the product cost, then we can making our profit better. So in every step there are the technology, there are technology which is enhancing, which is very good linkage between, and particularly if you talk about IoT, you talk about your sensor part, you talk about your machine learning, and your artificial intelligence. So these are the things which is spreading big way as far as industry 4.0 is concerned. But one demerit in 4.0, that you are rely more and more on the your engine part. So that's why now it has come in industry 5.0 with the involvement in the manual, that means human intervention. It's a combination of your industry 4.0 and the manual involvement. So these are the trend going on, Yatin. I think as far as India is concerned, if you talk about our industries, and if I compare with the the determination of Indian government for COVID-19 vaccine, you see the determination. One is determination, one is your market demand, and third one is the capacity building. This is the true example. I think every country understands how capable India is. Like that, in our own industry also, during COVID period, we have made a roadmap for huge digital transformation. You talk about our business transformation, because we are a very old organization, and lot of old automation is there. So we bring them in a very rapidly. We bring them in a very new tech manufacturing system, and we are going in a better way. Over to you. Thank you.
Super. Very insightful. I'm happy about it. Right. My next question, right, is how are manufacturing looking to reduce downtime through predictive and prescriptive maintenance using sensors and other IoT devices and maximizing the machine utilization? I would request Manish to pick up this question.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Yatin, for giving this opportunity. So nowadays, as Mr. Sarangi told that management thinking towards how to decrease the manufacturing cost, how to increase the production, how to minimize your downtime. So these all are concern each other, and that's come industry 4.0 come into the pictures, where we are talking about automations or industry 4.0, or robotic or something like that. The thing is come in a mind that the very first portion is a sensor. Once you put a sensor in your device, it is the first step of making automations your plant. Sensors sense the things, sense the data, and it is passed to the drives, and drives pass to the data to the systems, and system take this data into the beautiful dashboard scenario, and it will throw to the controlling man or a management to see how the sensors working perfectly to manage your downtime, manage your prediction for the preventing maintenance, you know and that can also predict how soon your device is going to be down, how soon you need to give a downtime, or uh, uh, forecast maintenance for that specific device. So these all are come to the pictures when we are starting with the sensors, and all data come, and those all data come into the systems. We will come to know like how we can save this kind of unplanned downtimes, um, man-made errors. This all we can uh, get resolved with the help of this. So like sensors is a first steps or a first parts in automation, I would say. And we are using since long sensors in industries. uh, there were previously there was a RS-232 port was used to connect systems. Now it is uh, RJ45, that means Ethernet, and now from Ethernet to we transfer to Wi-Fi. So now almost all the devices, all the equipments come with the Wi-Fi connectivity. So there is no copper cable, there is no physical connectivity is required. You can fetch the data anywhere else from the plant. You need to just provide Wi-Fi connectivity in your plants. So that help a lot. Maintenance free kind of things, I would say. And this is the way we can reach to the next steps of automation.
Super. Thank you. My next question is to Mr. Jagdeep, right? And the question is that what
Mr.
are the main
Yatin,
challenges for manufacturing CIOs in deploying IoT? What are the main challenges for manufacturing CIOs for deploying IoT? Mr.
thank
Jagdeep.
you. Yeah, thanks, Yatin, and good evening to all my co-panelists. Uh, I would say there are still a lot of challenges, though we are saying Industry 4.0 is there from many years now, but still many things are not available. So one thing which uh, after COVID has changed, now there is a lot of stress on technology. Before COVID, the technology was not considered the way it is getting considered today in the boardroom or into the automation space. And to achieve those objectives, it is highly dependent on the Industry 4.0, including the robotics, including the IoTs, big data analytics, and somehow, it is my personal experience, but somehow I feel the adequate resources are not available. So when we go to do something, we realize that many of the things are not available. And to to overcome from that, I think there is a adequate need to produce more skilled resources on IoT space, on robotics space. So this is one. Secondly, the most of the time, we are in manufacturing industry, and uh, the industry has grown over a period of time. So there are machines, there are equipments which has been procured in 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and then the new era where the equipments are already enabled with the technological interfaces. So I think earlier it was difficult to interface or to convert those old equipments into the make them IoT enabled. But with lot of advancement in vision analytics, I feel it has become slightly easier nowadays compared to earlier. Another thing which I feel is still a challenge, the interoperability. So we may have multiple solutions in different shops. Okay, so how these solutions talk to each other, and how they interoperate or exchange the information, so that information becomes intelligent enough to take the decisions. So rather than depending on the manual inputs that you provide some dashboard or decision making data and then someone manually take the decision, I think we are still far away from where we can rely on machines itself. Then let machine decide, what should be next action, what should be the next operation. So I think all the challenges are there. A lot of advancement has happened, but still, I see a lot of potential is there further for the improvements, and I'm quite hopeful that maybe in next 2 3 years, these all solutions will become further matured, and they will become more user friendly to be used.
Superb. Thank you, Jagdeep. My next question is to Dr. Sarangi. And the question is, now let's come to digital barriers. We saw questions related to small factories. And the question to Dr. Sarangi is, how are the IoT decision makers of different manufacturing organizations undertaking their digital transformation journey? How are IT decision makers of different manufacturing organizations undertaking their digital transformation journey?
Okay, good
Doctor.
question. Yeah. So, Mr. Atin, it's a good question. Before commenting this question, I think I would like to highlight some point which is linked with your question. Uh, you asked, I think, second or third question, that how to minimize the downtime. Okay, so downtime, it's related within the organization, or downtime with your customer, whatever product you are supplying them, that product, how that product is responsible for the downtime of their operation. Okay, and these are the things which as a IT leader you have to analyze and present to management, that these are the things, because you have certain layer, you are all IT, everything is ready with your business and you are doing good, everything good. But it's not like that. Once you implement something, you got something, now you are relaxed that everything is okay. No, every time you have to analyze what are the next step I have to do based on the customer demand, whether it's internal and external customer. I would like to give two examples, because I always love to speak on the practical way of what I achieved in my career. I'm giving you two examples. One is industrial battery, Another example is the vibration analysis of a motor. If you see the particularly the industrial battery manufacturer, industrial battery, the user, they are using very in a not in a systematic way. If you take about the forklift battery and all the things, they are using not in a proper way. So the huge claim, when I was in Exide industry, we got huge warranty claim. Then as a IT leader, you have to tell management that there is a chance to make some digital innovation so that I can reduce your this warranty cost. So you can't believe we have used three sensor, one sensor in the surface temperature, another is electrolyte, and third one the charging and discharging pattern, and I throw that result to customer as well as my sales team. You can't believe, once they got all the result, it will decrease drastically. That means result with you, you know how you are using the battery. This is number one. Another thing is, when I was in steel plant, in the steel plant there are bigger motors they are using for the rolling, bigger coil plate like that. The vibration analysis of motor is on the key part. Once this motor is something happened, there are 2 3 days production loss, and you can't get this motor very easily. So the through IoT sensor, we got the vibration. In the old days, there is a condition monitoring department, and there is a scheduling. They will go to the plant and they analyze the analysis. Till that time, nobody know what is happening as far as vibration analysis is concerned. And so we have made some IoT sensor, and it will throw a result to my plant maintenance CRP, and automatically, if I schedule a scheduling for the maintenance, automatically system will schedule, yes, this preventive maintenance, the exact time will be this based on the vibration analysis. So what I'm telling this, as a IT leader, you must understand your business growth. Based on business growth, how you are going to digitally transform so that you can add value as far as your productivity is concerned, your sales growth is concerned, and also there is a good linkage with your customer is concerned. On the basis of that, IT must make a presentation in the business language and present to management, so that management can understand that yes, these are the needs and these are the benefit. Once you present them in term of financial benefit, I think every IT leader is doing that. But my main point is how you are going to, particularly manufacturing sector, the owner is always linking with their financial part and the outcome. So that's why you have to convince them in the business language, so that you can convince. And I'm glad to share, any in my any all the organization, I've convinced management in a very better way, and transforming in my working days.
Super. Thank you, Dr. Zarangi. My next question is to Mr. Sharad. And Sharad, I'm expecting an in-depth answer to this.
Mhm.
How are CIOs looking to overcome the digital barriers and design the manufacturing workspace of tomorrow? How are
Design the.
CIOs looking to
Sorry.
overcome the digital barriers and design the manufacturing workspace of tomorrow?
Okay. Okay. In fact, since we are talking about tomorrow, there is a lot which is going to change. So let's talk about briefly about that, and then how CIOs and other leaders can play a part. Um, so my belief is that if you compare with other industries like finance and other industry, manufacturing value chain has not significantly changed. I mean, if you see the Michael Porter value chain, which was created 35 years back in 1985, in fact, yeah, 35 years back, it was from it was based on the available raw material. Manufacturers used to design something, push it to the market, and as a consumer, we were not having lot many options. So we were given a certain limited options, right? Now a lot of water has flown in this time, and our consumer is expecting a lot actually. So we are moving towards hyper customization, and there is a reason for that. One is that because of the advanced technological management, we have access to information every minute, every second. So our expectations have grown a lot. Number one. Number two, the margin pressure on the manufacturers has created a pressure for manufacturers to take one direction, either to become more closer to consumers and work on the services and innovation side, or become a super specialized technology manufacturer. So no longer a generic one, but select a technology and apply the flexible manufacturing system so that you really can charge premium prices for the thing which you are doing because you are specialized and you are unique. So because of this trend, the complete value chain is going to shift, and uh, the advanced technologies and framework like design thinking, blockchain, and even the product lifecycle management softwares are also now working how to adopt this new value chain of hyper customization. Now, in this scenario, even the supply chain and the product development, which are two ends of the value chain, will also go under a lot of change. The new product development will focus on how quickly to understand the aspirations of consumer and proactively design. And on the supply chain end, using drone and other technologies, they will adopt flexible and as and when needed delivery systems. So that's how this whole value chain is going to change, and which will impact on the way manufacturer have designed their workplace in past and in future. Now, coming to how they will design the manufacturing workplace, I believe, as I said, we will be having two types of manufacturer. One, which are more closer to consumer, and they will act like a system integrator or a solution provider rather than a typical manufacturer. They will focus more towards consumer. So they will interact with different suppliers who are specialized, assemble the things, and provide the lifelong services. So that means their workplace will be accordingly significantly change. In place of those typical cells or flow layouts, they will have uh, different specialized cells which will be masters in their own work, and there will be a uh, y kind of model. Y kind of model means there will be several sub-assemblies or several cells feeding into final assembly. And if you have heard of that, inventory postponement model or customization model, it will adopt basically through that hybrid bomb structure, that you can quickly select different parts of that assembly and make as per your customer. So this is going to be no longer make to stock or make to order, rather it is going to be make to consumer approach. So that will be one set of manufacturers, and that's how they will design their own workstations. On the other side, when smaller manufacturers will move towards high, super specialization, they will have specific technology, for example 3D manufacturing, or if they are expert in machining, metal machining only, then they will have tremendous set of capabilities of metal machining only. They will have flexible manufacturing system to cater any specific need. So that's how I see the trend for future, and that will impact the way you design your workplaces as a manufacturer. It- does did it
Sorry, folks, I'm
answer your
back. I had to
question?
go for a bio break. Right, my next question
Okay.
is to Mr. Rajiv. And Rajiv, the question is, how are the CROs managing the migration to a cloud-based environment, especially in a post-pandemic period? How are the CIOs managing the migration to the cloud-based environment, especially in the post-pandemic period?
Yeah, thank you so much, Atin. That's another good question. I should appreciate that. And so just let me give a parallel to this. Earlier, almost 10, 15 years back, there was always a question in the CIOs and CEOs as to why we should move to cloud. but the entire scenario has so much change that the same question is being rephrased in a different manner. When the question was earlier why to go to cloud, now the question is being asked why not to go to cloud. So that is the paradigm shift, I can say, that in the minds of CIOs and CEOs. So everybody is considering the cloud migration for some reason or the other, and it has become quite technologically possible for shifting the workloads to the cloud for various reasons. I can say that, be it security, be it skill set to operate the data center, the cost of data center, the refresh, and whatnot and whatnot. So in today's scenario, it has become quite relevant, and I can say also the need of the hour to move to cloud. Now, to answer your question directly, see, in the post-pandemic or the pandemic situation, the tough task was how to manage the transformation or shifting the workload to the cloud. This was possible, and I can say that this is still possible by the CIS if they are able to plan the entire activity properly. In the planning phase, they have to understand as to what are the workloads that needs to be shifted to the cloud. Say, for example, there are 10 number of applications in the in-house data center, then which are the applications that needs to be shifted to cloud? The reasons or the voting parameters can be high availability, scalability of the compute power, which otherwise will not be possible on the in-house data centers. So there can be various reasons of shifting to the cloud. So if the CIs are able to understand various parameters as to why they should shift to the cloud, and if they are able to plan it properly in the sense of how do they transfer, when do they transfer, what are the intricacies involved, who will be the team members involved in the transformation, the shifting of the cloud, and most importantly, according to me, is choosing the right implementation partner. So that is very crucial in these circumstances, because a partner should have the requisite knowledge of shifting the workloads from the in-house data center to the public cloud or the private cloud. So that is selection of a right technical partner is very important. And if they are able to plan all these activities in a very decent manner, in a very time-bound manner, and in a very flawless execution style, I can say. So if they are able to plan things on the paper and then put it into place, then it is very much possible to shift to the cloud. And that is what exactly we have done at our place. When the pandemic started 1.5, 2 years back, we had already started the shifting to the cloud. And even though it was a lockdown situation, but still we were able to manage it because everybody was working remotely, barring one or two tasks that were to be tested from the shop floor. The rest of the things went on properly, and we were successful in shifting the critical workloads. I'm saying that the critical workloads, because that is what is required by the business, and business cannot afford any downtime as such. So we were able to do that. And the reason I'm citing this example of our company is because all the plan and all the plan requisites were in place. Everything was planned. The downtime was taken. The testing scenario was completed. The UAT was there in place, and all these project methodologies were minutely followed. And that was the reason we got success in transferring the workloads to the cloud. So here is my answer to the question, Yatin. So these are the steps that CIOs should follow, and if they follow it in a very meticulous manner, and they will be able to transfer the workloads successfully to the cloud. So pandemic, because of pandemic, we cannot do it. That should not be a kind of excuse, because I believe that in every situation, one should be able to find out the positive side of it. One should be able to find out the opportunities in every given scenario. So if you are able to find out that and plan your work accordingly and deploy that, it is possible. So that is the approach that CIOs are taking, according to me, in this current situation, and they are able to transfer the workload to the cloud. Now, if you take the scenario of transfer of the workloads to the cloud uh, for last 2 years as compared to what was transferred in the last 5 to 10 years, you will always find a trend that in last 2 years maximum number of workloads were shifted to cloud. and this was only possible because of the good amount of planning that the Cios had in place. Same thing goes for digitalization also. uh, we have witnessed the maximum number of digitalization in the last 2 years. One person, an eminent personality, has rightly said that the amount of digitalization that did not go into the industry for last 10 years, it has gone in just last one and a half year. So same thing applies here also. Transformation to the cloud, maximum number of transformation to the multi-cloud environment has we have witnessed during the last 1.5 years. So that is my answer to your question, Yatin.
Super. Thank you, Rajiv. Right. Very interesting. I really thank you. Last 50 minutes, 50, right, have been quite interesting. Each one have expressed, right, their insights into this. I conclude the session by saying that we all need to support the government initiative of Make in India and focus on marketing. And all the CIOs need to be the enablers for the new age manufacturing by using the digital avenues so that turnaround times, agile rollouts, scale can be achieved easily. So I really thank each one of you. And Rajneesh, I request you to come on screen and take the further proceedings.
Hi, thanks, Yatin, for that informative discussion. As I mentioned earlier, we would just like to just hand over a token of appreciation to each of the panelists. The certificates we will be mailing you separately to you. So, may I call upon the panelists for this certificate thing? Let me just call each one of you. So, Mr. Yatin from Inam Asset Management, and thanks, Yatin, for this show. And this is a token of appreciation, a certificate from our side.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next, we have Sharad Nigam from Hitachi India.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really
Welcome.
enjoyed the discussion and glad to connect
Thanks.
with
And
you.
we also liked your participation. We have next Rajiv Khade from Sigma Electric Manufacturing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rajiv. Next, we have
Thank
Dr.
you.
Priyabrata Sarangi from DCM Shriram.
Thank you, Rajnish.
Thank you. Next, we have Manish Chandigara from Aditya Birla Group.
Thank you, Mr. Rajnish. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Next, Jagdeep Kumar from Lodia Corporation. Uh, Thanks to all the panelists and thanks to Yatin for moderating this discussion. We really appreciate your time, and as we had already mentioned, we have recorded the whole session also. So apart from about 300 odd people who watched it live, we will have the recording on social media and on our website, as well as we'll have a text report also, and we will be promoting this on various social media. Thanks a lot again to all the panelists and wishing all of you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And
Bye.
Thank you.